Hello, I am Shannon Ballman Theis, the Payroll Queen, and today we are going to be discussing the Wisconsin W-4 equivalent, which is also called the WT-4. All right. So it starts out, like just every other W-4 that I've seen, which it has the employee's legal name, social security number, address, date of birth, which is not on every single one, but it's getting to be on more and more of them. The city, state, and zip code, the date of hire, and to pick your filing status. So the employee instructions. So effective on or after January 1st, 2020, every newly hired employee is required to provide a completed Form WT-4 to each of their employers. Form WT-4 will be used by your employer to determine the amount of Wisconsin income tax to be withheld from your paychecks. If you have more than one employer, you should claim a smaller number or no exemptions on each Form WT-4 provided to the employer other than your principal employer so that the total amount withheld will be closer to your actual income tax liability. You must complete and provide your employer a new Form WT-4 within 10 days if the number of exemptions previously claimed decreases. You may complete and provide to your employer a new Form WT-4 at any time if the number of exemptions increases. Your employer may also require you to complete the form to report your hiring to the Department of Workforce Development. So what this is saying that if your exemptions decrease, you have to notify the employer right away within 10 days because this will then, if you don't, it will result in your withholding being under withheld and you'll have a larger tax bill at tax time. But if your exemptions increase, it's okay because you're going to have still more taxes withheld than you otherwise would have with that increase. But my general rule of thumb is whether it increases or decreases, complete a new W-4 as soon as possible because the goal isn't to get a huge refund or to pay in an amount. It is to have your withholding as close to zero or your tax liability as close to zero. So not getting a refund and not paying in as possible. So this next section is going to talk about under withholding. If sufficient tax is not withheld from your wages, you may incur additional interest charged under the tax laws. In general, 90% of the net tax shown on your income tax return should be withheld. This is the same for Wisconsin as it is for federal. And over withholding. If you're using Form WT-4 to claim the maximum number of exemptions to which you are entitled and your withholding exceeds your expected income tax liability, you may use Form WT-4A to minimize the over withholding. So the instructions, line 1, A through C is the number of exemptions. Do not claim more than the correct number of exemptions. If you expect to owe more income tax for the year than will be withheld if you claim every exemption to which you are entitled, you may increase your withholding by claiming a smaller number of exemptions on lines 1A through C, or you may enter into an agreement with your employer to have additional amount withheld. See instructions for line 2. C, dependents. Those persons who qualify as your dependent for federal income tax purposes may also be claimed as dependents for Wisconsin purposes. The term dependent does not include you or your spouse. indicate the number of dependents that you are claiming in the space provided. So that you can see what this looks like. If you're claiming yourself, you'll enter 1. If you are married and you can claim your spouse as an exemption, click 1, or you can enter 1 here. However, you can't claim your spouse as an exemption if you claim single. A lot of states, like a lot of the payroll software will not even allow you to enter an exemption for the spouse if you've marked single. But single is going to be your option that is going to have the highest amount withheld. And Wisconsin does help you with that because you can claim married but withhold at the higher single rate. So that will allow you to have your spouse entered as an exemption. And the number of dependents that you are entitled to claim an exemption for would go here. So like if you've got 3 kids, you can enter 3. And if you've got 1 for you and 1 for your spouse, the total is going to be 5. So D just wants you to add A through C.